We are the sons and daughters of the soul. We are resilient and forever forward-thinking. We ask for nothing else than the opportunity to live and to create the lives that we were meant to live. We want nothing but an equal chance at options and possibilities. The same possibilities and options to live out our potential as our fellow man. We want to be heard, understood, and expressive in our reality. We are the future. We are the creative. We are here.
Hello, and welcome once again to another Tuesday where I, your guy, Tyrone Glover, the Dress Down CEO, get to do what I do best, which is help you hopefully get out of some financial situations. Today's show is going to be a show that's going to really focus on African Americans, Hispanics, the working poor, middle class, those of us who are in not necessarily financial distress. We're just in a moment of we need real academics understanding education. I've been saying it all week. I'm getting a little bit tongue-tied because I'm super excited about what we're going to get ready to do here. But I've been talking about it all week. Our purchasing power. We took our purchasing power and turned it into our political and our financial strength. Oh my God. It's unbelievable that we do not use it in the manner in which we should use it, and I'm hoping that today's show will hopefully enlighten some of you to really start thinking, oh, maybe if I took care of these things and got this in order while the nation itself is going through a recovery on that back end, I might be better off. There's no might in that. You will be better off. You will be if you do the short things now. If you do the short things now and allow for those to grow into a habit, behavior, things of that nature, because again, I'm telling you, what we're doing it because of a behavior. We're doing it because we know better, so now we should be doing better. And it's going to take a little bit of time, but I'm telling you, those who are hungry, those who are wanting, this is what these shows are for. It's for those who already know I'm already there. All I need is somebody to guide me through those particulars, and that's why we do these shows. Because it's not for everybody, and I'm okay with admitting that. But it is for those who are saying, you know what, I am ready. Let's get it going. Here's some great information for me to get started. And then from there, if I still need some additional help, there's going to be those professionals out there that really step in and help you in that regards as well. So, as I say, always thank the creator for everything, because without him, none of this would be possible. Go out and reach somebody who's already out there that you can tell, hey, that guy's back on there. He's doing that show again. He's talking about those same old things. But again, those same old things is going to help you get to that next level. That's what's more important than anything. Log in, go to Facebook and get on there, or get on the Facebook as well. Let somebody know that, hey, I'm out there. I'm doing what I need to be doing. As always. So let's dive into it. Getting it started. The necessary conversation is continuing. It's continuing. We got to keep it going. And the longer we keep it going, the easier it's going to get for all of us. We got to keep talking about it. We got to make it a everyday understanding, because too many of us are going through some unnecessary financial stress. Unnecessary. We just do things a little bit different, prioritize just a little bit different, we're going to be A-okay. Trust me, I'm telling you, this is not hard. It's not that challenging. And it doesn't matter your income. Your income does not matter. It could be any income situation. All right? You just got to want it more than those who are presenting it to you. That's why I do this every single week, because I want you to be up on what you should know and what you should understand. So the necessary conversation continues. Black and Hispanic Americans have lower credit scores. Why is that? Do we really understand it? Is it really that we're that bad? Even though I just said, again, our purchasing power. If we took our purchasing power and turned it into our financial strength and our political power, but why is it that we don't have that political strength when it comes to the credit scores? We'll start right there, as I told you before. I'm a credit guy. I focus specifically on this topic. I've been in it myself. Had some bad credit, had some good credit, had some bad credit, had some good credit. So I've been on that, what we all on, that roller coaster of up and down, up and down, up and down. But I'm always trying to find ways of why isn't it steady? Or why doesn't it make that incline all the time as it should? We see the negatives eat it right up. It'll take away from our growth. And we'll see that our usage of our products won't necessarily give us the same growth that we would hope. And other ethnicities, we're seeing different when it comes to that. So that's why we're asking that question tonight. So why is that? And hopefully I'll be able to answer that for you as we move through this segment. So enjoy, everybody. I hope you sent out that message and tweet to whomever. Log in on Facebook, log in on YouTube, watch it on the various stations that Soul City provides. This is going to be a doozy, and it's going to be a good one. All right, credit scores in the United States aren't working for many Blacks and Hispanics in America, who typically have lower levels of credit worthiness than other ethnic groups, and congressional reports have shown the system is stacked against them. So again, I'm not making this up. This is not something that I'm pulling out of the thin air or I've read books and books and books on. No, I'm going to the sources that bring individuals down to the Congress and say, hey, CEOs, hey, COOs, hey, CFOs, and ask them these questions. How come these things aren't working for certain ethnic groups? About 54% of Black American reports have no credit or less than perfect credit, which is considered to be any score below 640. About 41% of Hispanics Americans report feeling the same thing is happening to them. All right, so those two groups, those two gaps, again, that is purchasing power. We'll buy, we'll spend our bread, but how come we're not getting that return on our investment by using the right products? And why can't we even get the right products? And this is what this is going to be addressing. In contrast, 37% of white Americans report having less than perfect credit, and only 18% of Asians report similar credit circumstances. So it is also in those areas, but I guarantee you the white Americans that they're talking about and some of the Asian Americans that they're talking about probably reside in the same understanding that I've always been talking about within that working poor and that middle class structure. While the credit system has was created to be blind, the data and congressional reports have shown Black and Hispanic Americans are being unfairly shut out of the credit system. So it is a crisis, folks. It is a crisis, and this is hopefully going to enlighten those of us who already know, hey, you know what? I need to do better, and this is how you're going to do better. Then we're going to do better. But I'm planting that seed with those who I get to teach, which is a youth who are very, very hungry, and they want to know more about their financial circumstances and situations. If we can tap into that, that's another gold mine. So our purchasing power, and along with the youth of today, no stopping where we could take our understanding of financial literacy. All right, so debt and savings levels play a role in credit scores. All right, so super important to understand that. Credit scores, which range from 300 to 850, are based on a number of factors, including accounts, payment history, number of accounts open, the length of your credit history, and amounts you currently owe. Your age, race, salary, employment history, and where you live are not factored in to a degree. Also remember, these are businesses, and these businesses set up their platforms in whatever manner in which they can. They're dealing with, obviously, regulators and litigators who are going to allow for them to get away with some shenanigans and tomfoolery. So again, even though it's stating that they're not factored in, ask the question, be very careful. Okay. While race may not be an explicit factor, the financial situation, which are common for many Black and Hispanic people, do play in credit worthiness. So it's really important to understand that. Really, really, really super important. Only over half of Black Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, which can affect their payment history and the rate at which they use credit to get by. Again, think about that. Over half of Black Americans live paycheck to paycheck. It's alarming to even have to say that, paycheck to paycheck. And then we're using that money, we're spending our hard-earned cash, and there's no return on that investment. Hard-earned cash goes out, nothing comes back in. And one day I'm going to be talking about, or one of the shows I'm going to talk about, our usage of how long does our money stay in our communities. And that's another piece that's going to probably blow your mind, but it's really an important topic to talk about as we move through, again, this necessary conversation. So in contrast, only 44% of Americans overall report running out of money before payday. You tell me, is there a problem? There is definitely a problem. All right, so here's what you really need to understand about your FICO scores. If you are at 580, your score is well below the average in America. 600, that's fair. That puts you in a possibility of getting some credit extended to you, but guess what's going to happen? High interest rate. Very, very high interest rate. I like to call it default interest rates because all it's doing is setting you up for failure. 720, you're in a much better position. It's good, but still remember, you're still going to get hit with interest rates probably somewhere around that 11 to 15. If you're higher than that, that means you probably have some issues within your credit report that need to be addressed. All right, if you are in a 720 range and you are still or haven't negotiated with your lenders or with your creditors as to lowering that interest rate, you best get started today. One of my clients that I just talked to, 3 cards, consolidated 3 cards into a 0. 3 cards that were probably somewhere at 18, 21, whatever the other one was, but 3 cards consolidated into a 0. That's helping her out tremendously. Now, there are others out there that will try to keep you in these lengthy, or not even say lengthy, but these large interest rate cards, and they'll keep increasing your limit. That's good, but not good. All right? Don't go for the increase in limit. Go for the reduction in interest rate. Interest over limit. All right? Interest over limit. If you want more cash flow, that's really not cash flow, it's just credit. But still, if you go and take that and then the financial situation hits you, that's not going to be good for you. So it's really important to understand you don't want to go for limit. You want to go for interest. All right, very good. Again, same scenario, 777. Of course, you want to be extra careful to make sure that your interest is much lower. You're very good. Your score is above the average in the United States. So that means you're going to be able to borrow at Liberty. And then obviously this 800 range, the 800 club, exceptional. I mean, you are lowest possible interest rate. You should be getting everything at roughly around 2 to 3. If you're anything higher than that, and again, please check to see if you are at 800 and you are still getting hit with interest that is in the double digits or even in the high single digits, you obviously must have some things going on in your credit report. There's no getting around that. You have it. So you need to start talking to either myself, or anyone who understands this business. Should I call it a business? Well, yeah, I can call it a business. This business of helping consumers, this fun task, for me at least it is, of helping consumers make sure that they give you the valid information. If you're over 800 and you're still in the double digits, you got some situations going on and you need to talk to somebody. All right. So proper credit mix. Now, this one is a biggie. And the reason why I call it a biggie is because of the fact that you got to know what's going on inside your credit profile. We know that we got to pay on time. We know that we have to bring down our utilization. We know that we shouldn't be asking. These inquiries will equally harm your credit. And we equally know that there's a history attached to our credit. Not even the better. You can have a history of bad credit, but we always want a history of good stuff, right? But this mix is important. Every category has its own credit score. The mortgage has a category that's different credit scores. Student loans have a category, and again, different credit scoring mechanism, but it all, as we say, not as we say, but as teachers say, in school, you got history, you got math, you got science, you got social studies, you got gym, you got all these classes, and then overall, you're going to come up with an average. And if you're doing good, guess what? It's going to pay off. Credit kind of works in the exact same way. It's just debt that you're taking on. You manage that debt properly, you make your payments on time, you do all of the contractual understandings, and guess what? You're going to be A-okay. But in credit, you got to have a mixture of, and you can have a couple of houses, you can have a couple of student loans, a couple of cars, a couple of credit cards. But in most cases, when it comes to African Americans and Hispanics, we're not going to have a mortgage. We're definitely going to have some student loans, as we've already found out. We might not even have vehicles because public transportation is so readily available in certain areas. But if they're not, then you do. But you have to balance out the two. If you're going to be spending more on public transportation, you might as well go out and get you a car that's going to report back. It would be nice if the bus driver would be like, oh, yeah, you paid your $2.75. Here, check that off. It's now part of your, going to get reported to your credit card. Not going to happen. So your Uber, your Lyft, your taxi, not going to happen. So really strategically think it through. If you've gone through the understanding of, you now have a driver's license, you now have the proper documentation that allows for you to move a motor vehicle, by all means, think that through because it could be a cost saver for you. And it's definitely going to add to that credit file. All right, so that adds to the mix. We are more or less stuck, not stuck again, wrong choice of words, but this is where most of us consumers will find ourselves, right here in the credit card area. So you got to be making sure that you're using the proper mechanisms to do your transactioning. Debit and cash is good, all right? I'm not going to downplay any resource that is out there. It is good, but it doesn't do what it needs to do, which is report. And you're not going to get that from debit and cash, okay? It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So they devised a mechanism that will allow for that to happen. It's called the credit card. Don't think for a second that today you don't need to have credit. You need to have credit. It's just that simple. Oh, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to stop you right there because it was brought up a couple of days or weeks, not even a week ago on Dr. Yana B's show. And if you missed that, go back and check that show out. It was really, really good. Dr. Yana B is fabulous. She did a great job and she does a great job all the time, but that show was really, really good. It was really informative. But credit cards, that's how you're going to establish, build, create wealth, all right? It's about using a product that's going to help you gain access to other areas in which you probably never thought that you would have access to. And once you start down that road and you do it properly, that's where the wealth comes in. Now you start to diversify. Now you start to invest. Now you start to get insurance. Now you start doing all of those financial things that are, I would have to say, part of the American dream. That not just the house. Yes, that's part of it. The white picket fence, the dog and the cat and the perfect marriage. Yeah, I guess that was part of the American dream, and it is still. But I think our priorities may have shifted a little bit. Let's make the American dream now financially stable. And as I stated earlier, I don't need every single soul. 2%, 3%, 5%, 8%. I'm fine with low digit numbers to start off with. But once the energy and the understanding starts making its way through the neighborhood, oh, guess what's going to happen? It's going to grow. It's going to grow. Once people start seeing you step a little bit differently, smile a little bit differently, how you are approaching things a little bit differently. Your financial well-being is one of the most important things that we should really be catering to. And that we're not, it's alarming. So as I stated, credit cards are how we get through our understanding. Those who are not and will not, or have that thought process, they process that they will never make it to financially stable. This is how you're going to get there. So credit cards, secured credit cards at first, securing your own understanding of how do I pay back. There's going to be some cost to that secured credit, and that would be an annual charge that they're going to probably charge you for having access to that credit card. Most credit cards come with a logo, Visa, MasterCard, Discovery, whatever's on there. So that would be that yearly. The interest for you on a secured product, please understand that that's your money. You're securing it with your money. Let these morons attempt to think for a second that they're going to charge you a fee for your own money. I would love to take that one to court. So again, if there's anyone out there who is going through some similar situation that I just described, I would love to present that in court. Pro se litigant, I do it all the time. I love this job. I love this job. That's why I'm so good at it, because I love this job. All right, so credit cards, secured credit cards, secure it specifically to a task, cell phone, utilities, car payment if they allow it, rent if they allow it. Whatever it is that you're doing now, buying groceries, gifting, whatever it is, if you still need help with classifying which things to put on secured cards, again, reach out to me. Soul City Network, you can reach out that way. You can reach out, obviously, through Leverage Credit Recovery at gmail.com, and also Linktree. Linktree us, Leverage Credit Recovery, Linktree. That's the coolest little thing. You can put so much stuff in there. But as I stated, credit cards, secured. After you've done your due diligence, you've lived up to, you can keep them or you can move on to another product. That would be an unsecured. Now, that's where the interest comes back in play. But if you've done really good with the secured card, when you move over to an unsecured, they may still try to joust with you a little bit, but you can tell them too, I want a low interest rate. They already know your credit behavior. They already know that you're doing a good job. So guess what? They're probably going to give it to you. All right. But if you don't ask, the answer is always no. So that's the mix that I want to tell you. All right. It's proper credit mix. If you have a proper credit mix, you're going to do extremely well because there are different categories, different scores for each credit item that you're getting. All right. So it's really important. That's why I said it's going to be a doozy of a show. This is going to be a doozy. So what happens if I miss a payment? What happens if I open a new credit card? What happens if I pay off my credit card? So all of these questions. What if you miss a payment? All of these questions do come into your head, and it's okay. It's okay. You should know how and what's going to transpire if I do happen to run into these types of circumstances or situations. And if it happens, what do I do? What do I panic? No, you don't panic. Do I run for the hills? No, you don't run for the hills. You manage it properly, just like anything else. You manage it properly. If you can get in front of a missed payment prior to, definitely do it. All right. But if you call customer service and say, hey, you know what, I'm going to be late on this payment, you got to remember something. You're not dealing with a person per se. Yes, the customer service agent is going to be like, oh, yeah, I'm so sorry to hear that. Oh, my goodness. Well, just go ahead and make that payment whenever you can. Thank you very much. All right. Okay, great. Thank you for giving me the date. All right. I know the date. Boom, they're going to hang up. That computer that is waiting for that payment on that due date is not going to be so friendly. It's going to register that as a late payment. It's going to hit your credit report, and then your credit report is going to go down. Or excuse me, going to hit your credit report, which is going to alter your score, and your score is going to go down. So if you can stay in front of missed payments, allocate your cards to certain tasks. There's another thing that I'm going to ready to throw at you. It's called a cycle. Create some form of a cycle where you have your credit being paid or your bills being paid in one particular week, if that's possible. If not, you're going to have to get with somebody like myself who can make it and show you how it's possible. Okay? If it's not possible, again, you have to get somebody like myself who can help and show you how to make it possible, because it's possible. I just told you, we spend too much money. We use debit and cash for literally everything, and we're not getting the ROI, return on our investment. So you want the return on your investment? You want to start improving financially? You want this understanding? Well, that's what you're going to have to do. All right. So with that being said, missing a payment, we already know. Got to make sure you can stay in front of it. If you add a new credit card, that's a plus. Now I got more people saying good things about you. All you got to do is manage it properly. Manage it properly. If you manage it properly, guess what's going to happen? They're going to report it properly. Maybe. Oh, yeah, I had to throw that big maybe in there. Yes, they're maybe going to report it properly. It's super important that you're monitoring your credit. If you're not monitoring it, these companies will do whatever they want up to 28 days later after a report date. One day I'm going to go over my state of your credit with you. I created this platform for all of my guests and clients who want it. Again, if you want it, I'll do one for you as well. It's called the State of Your Credit. Just like the state of our union, just like the state of our state. Yes, I piggyback off of that because it was really cool. But the state of your credit just gives you a breakdown of what is affecting your credit. Obviously, negatively. If it's positive stuff, you're going to know about the positive stuff. You probably are not addressing the negative stuff. So that's why we're going to talk about that on one of the later shows. So yes, if you got a new credit card, that's a plus. You just have to manage it properly. If you manage it properly, there will be rewards, not gimmicks, okay? Gimmicks are take some miles. Gimmicks are, now you get some 2% here or 3% there. They're charging you 18 and 20%, and they're going to give you back 2 and 3%. You do the math. Are you really getting anything? Now, if you're getting your product at 0% and they're going to give you back 2 for using the product, by all means, I would do that every single day. That's okay. That's legitimate, but it would have to be something of substantial understandings. If you're just buying your gas once a week, or if you're buying groceries or little knickknacks here and there, if you're not generating enough, you would have to weigh the cost of that. But still, anything at 0% that I'm using and I'm getting 2% back just for using it, that's clearly a plus. But if I'm in a product or thinking about getting a product, and that product is offered at 25 or 30%, which they're not that high, my apologies. They're around 29%. Maybe there are some out there that are higher than that. But I know based on the product that I've been using, I haven't seen anything higher than that. Used to be that there were some products that were higher, that high. But I've come to the realization that they're not as high. But be careful again. If you do, be careful. Be careful. There are still institutions out there that are doing these loan types of things that sometimes could throw you off. But again, be smart, be savvy, be wise. This is why we do these shows, to give you that understanding. If you do what we're asking, you don't have to do it all. Again, I'm giving you a bunch of information. This much is what I want you to do. All right, and we'll talk about how you get to the other part. So new cards. If you add a new card, that's exactly what's going to happen. It's going to add. If you pay off a card, that's a plus too. If you close it, that's the problem. If you pay it down to 0, that's okay. Again, managing it properly, utilization, understanding how that all works, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. But that's those questions I just wanted to highlight for you because I'm sure they were in your brain. And again, please pose those questions. Go to YouTube and drop a couple of questions in there for me. Get on Facebook and equally drop a couple of questions in there for me because I'd love to hear your questions there. It's what we do. It's what we do. All right. So additionally, those with a credit score within 300 to 549 range report their less than perfect credit history has impacted their housing, career, relationship, and even their ability to communicate. So, I mean, come on, folks. It's hurting us all across the spectrum of life. About 28% of those with less than perfect credit say they can't rent the apartment they want, while 28% have been flat out denied a cell phone plan or saddled with having to pay huge down payments. So that's true. Okay, that's true. That is so true because again, I'm not talking from other people's experiences. I'm talking from my own and the clients that I've helped, which are hundreds, if not thousands by now, helped through a variety of different financial circumstances and situations. And now I'm looking at them and I'm looking at myself wondering, whoa, we did pretty good. but I'll still take my stuff through circumstances because you got to prove to people times. You got to show them that it's possible. So I'm in the process now of proving to anyone you can get out of whatever financial situation that you're in with proper coaching, with proper tutelage, with proper understanding. As I said to my kids again today, not my kids, but my students. It doesn't matter where you are on that team. You could be part of the starting five. You could be that sixth man. You could be someone who's on the bench and you've been sitting on that bench for quite some time and you're probably getting frustrated. But if they win that championship, guess what you get? You get a ring. You get a ring. Okay? You're part of the team. Be part of the team. Be part of the success. This is what this is about. Part of the success. We do what we need to do. You're going to be successful. You're going to walk away with a goose, the golden egg, and everything else that comes with it. All right, so we talked about the types of credit. All right, so the types of credit, your credit mix. Different types of credit is considered your credit mix. So this blue area right there is considered your credit mix. Payment history, super important. These are the things that you have to do. You have to pay on time. There's no getting around that. You got to pay on time. You pay on time. It's 35% of your overall credit understanding. There's multiple factors still within that payment history, but we're not going to talk about that because that's the minutia. That's the things that they continue to keep thinking that they're harming you by. But all you got to remember, if I pay on time, probably going to end up with the credit score that I'm looking for. Utilization. I said that last time. Here's where you are, folks. If you get a card, the card's going to have a limit first and foremost, but it's going to start you off at zero. So the card's going to have a limit. It's going to start you off at zero. You're going to use that card. You're going to go up, down, you go up, down, you go up, going down. That's how you month to month, that utilization. Speaking from 1 month, if you use the card when it was at zero and you go up and you max it out, that means they're now breaking even. All right, I maxed out the card. You got to bring that card back down to an understanding. The standard is that the industry wants you to bring it down to 30%. Depending on your credit, you might have to bring it down a little bit more. All right, you want to still give them something. 30% of 100 is $30, but why should you give them $30 on a product that they're charging you that much interest on? All right, so it's real strategic and it's real, not even that mathematical. Not even that hard in that sense. But what it is that you have to do these principles. So if your credit score is in that area range, what we talked about, in that poor, in that fair, 23% would be ideal. So again, $1,000, I had my limits here. I started off with zero. I maxed it out. It was a $1,000 limit. Now I got to bring it back down. I got to pay it back down. I got to make my monthly payment to bring my utilization back down. Now that I brought that utilization back down to $230, because again, how did I get to that? $1,000, which is my limit, times 23%. $1,000 times my 23%, which is my new utilization understanding limit. 1,000 times 23%, new utilization understanding, because I have a credit score that's poor or fair. I'll go over this all the time with you. Just let me know whenever you have the time to do it. So you got those two areas first and foremost. That's 65% of your overall credit score. We talked about the types of credit. That's your credit mix. You might not get this full 10%, but what if you got, say, 7? All right, 65 and 7 is 72. So now you are definitely in that area of, wow, I got a passing grade. My credit score should be going up. Absolutely, it should be going up based on this model, based on this understanding. If Equifax, TransUnion, Experian don't actually have this understanding, again, this is where we have to make it clear to them. We're not no crazy consumer. We're not being bamboozled any longer about how you're using the technology to circumvent the laws, circumvent the understanding, make us in the African American and the Hispanic community think that we're doing things completely wrong when we're not. We're doing things completely right. We just have to use the right mechanisms or the right tools to make those purchases. Okay, so you got your types of credit. Then you're going to move over to your inquiries. You do not want to keep inquiring. Inquiring is this purple area right here. You don't want to make so many inquiries. Stop asking. If the answer is always going to be no, stop asking, especially financial institutions, when you already know that your credit score may not be where it needs to be. So stop, stop, stop. All that does is drag your credit score down. And a new one that we now come into an understanding that this, I think, is pretty shady is your credit age. That credit age used to grow when you added a new credit card to your financial situation. Now they're using that against you. So be careful. If you have a lengthy credit history and you add a new credit product to it, it may take some of that credit age away. 7 years is a magical number. So once, for whatever reason, I'm still trying to figure it out. So if there's anybody out there who understands why that is a mathematical wonder number, please let me know when it comes to the credit game, because something about that 7 years, things just get real exciting for a history that's over 7 years, as long as you obviously are maintaining it properly. All right, so that's the credit score weight. That's what weighs you down, or that's what lifts you up. All depends on how you manage it and how you manage it properly. All right, so 30% of Blacks and 25% of Hispanic Americans feel they never have a chance to build good credit and believe the system was stacked against them from the start. In fact, 30% of Black Americans and 27% of Hispanics report they were misled or tricked during their first experience with credit. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's a most definite did happen. All right. Only about 18% of whites and 15% of Asians say they were similarly deceived. But we were all deceived, taken advantage of, thinking that, oh my God, if I did this, if I did that, if I paid attention, and no, they still took advantage. And they took advantage of some more than others. But as I stated, if you are or are poor, the working poor, middle class could be a variety of different understandings, whether it's 200,000, 500,000, a million, 2.5 million, whatever these numbers is that they keep throwing out there, that's the middle class. It doesn't matter. We were all deceived. We were all taken advantage of. So poor, middle class, I'm not going to say the rich. Rich have accountants. They have bookkeepers. They have all of those things that come with the ability to manage your money properly. Unfortunately, Blacks and Hispanics don't. Can we learn it? Absolutely. Should we learn it? Most definitely. All right. There are easy ways, easy tools that we can use today that would help us manage every element of what I'm referring to in the most effective way that's going to improve our financial understanding, create and generate wealth. This is how we do it. All right, less than perfect credit has long-reaching consequences. All right, long-reaching consequences. Having less than perfect credit results have a number of financial consequences, including being denied a credit card or getting charged higher interest rates on loans. Less than perfect credit can also impact housing, employment, medical health, and even relationships. It's unacceptable that less than perfect credit is affecting the lives of so many of our citizens. All right? It's affecting so many of our citizens, some more than others. It's really important that you understand it. Long-reaching consequences. Creating equal credit opportunities is a critical first step towards helping to close the racial gap in our society. Recent innovations and new fintech products coming down the pipeline can lead to a much needed handout, or not even a handout, but a hand up. Okay, so there are new products, and you've probably seen them on your social media feeds that are all out there. There's this one called Self. There's Open Sky. There's a lot of new products. Please be careful. The ones that are now really that are out there in the market are these CDs, where they're giving you the credit product, but they're also asking you to give them money to invest or save for you. Well, I can tell you as a day trader, You could do far better with that money than giving it to somebody, but as a starter project, it's perfectly fine. I think Cash App does it now. I think they have the same product. Um, Credit Karma, something similar. As I said, Open Sky, excuse me, not Open Sky, but Self. There's a lot of Chime is doing this exact same thing. So as I say, there's a lot of financial products out there that are offering you the opportunity of building credit and also saving money on the side as well. Just again, if you are unsure, look at their pros and cons. You can talk to me because I'd be more than happy to explain those products to you. But there are products out there, and as they come down the pipeline, which they are, a much needed hand. Equifax Boost, for example, allows consumers to link their monthly utilities and telephone bills to get credit for one-time complete payments. Here's a boost, fellow consumers and citizens. Experian's algorithm, even with the boost, continues to undermine nearly every consumer act and law. So it's really important to understand that these institutions might be offering you short-term understanding, but if you mess up in one little ounce, long-reaching consequences. All right, so be careful with these products that come out there. They're not necessarily all good, but if you choose to get into one, understand the contractual relationship to the T, because if you don't, it will come back to haunt you. But if you manage your credit properly in the manners in which I've just explained, you're going to come out on top. These long-reaching consequences are only for those who choose to deviate from the understanding. All right, so are you starting? Are you building or boosting? Which one are you doing? Are you starting out? Because if you're just starting out, here's what you need to do. And if you're boosting or building or rebuilding, well, here's another way in which you can do that as well. So how to start building a good credit score. Open a secured credit account. Okay, open a secured credit account. It's going to help you out. Really, it's going to really do a lot because now you're focusing on building good relationships. So a secured card would be the best way to start. If you don't have credit or if you have a low credit score, get with a secured card. Become an authorized user on someone else's account. Now, this one is a bit tricky because if that person doesn't do the right thing, then you're going to be on the hook for their negative credit behavior. All right, so it's really important too, if you're going to do this, make sure that you know that you're doing this with a person who is on point and on time with their credit. You're not going to gain access to their credit usage. You're just going to gain access to their positive information. All right, think about that again. You're not going to get the credit card. You're not going to get a credit card in your name. No, you're going to get access to their positive credit behavior. All right, get a credit builder loan, which are also important, knowledgeable understandings that you can build your financial understanding with credit builder loans. All right, all it is, again, credit builder loan. They'll give you money, you pay it back with the understanding there's going to be some interest attached to it. There's going to be some building understandings that come with it as well. So they're going to be saving money for you. You're going to be building that credit while they're saving, again, it's a transaction. Understand what each item here is, and you're going to be successful. Don't understand it, there's going to be some misinformation, and then you're going to be finding yourselves, oh my God, I can't believe. All right? Inquire about non-credit bill payments going towards your credit history. That was that boost that we were just talking about. Those are and should, again, help you, but know the particulars about anything that you get into. And make sure that you're monitoring it and following it. If you're not doing that, and I'll talk, as I said, next week, or not next week, the week after next, we'll go that route, about the method in which I set my clients up, and I'll walk you through the state of our credit, or it's the state of your credit, so that you can get a really good understanding of how that works. All right, so are you rebuilding or boosting? All right, so things that boost your credit score. Have an open, active account in good standing. good standing, open active accounts in good standing. So if you're not using credit, you're definitely not going to be building it, boosting it, or even starting if you're not using it. So you have to think about, oh my God, am I going to be moving out of this house someday? Oh my God, am I going to be getting a new apartment sometime? Oh my God, am I going to be buying a car? Oh my God, am I going to be getting married? Oh my God, am I going to have kids? Oh my God. Whatever you might be oh my Godding about, you're still going to need credit. You're still going to need credit. The earlier you start, the better it's going to help you. The later you start, you can still rebuild from it. If you've gone through some disasters, you can still rebuild from it. It doesn't matter. We are in a recovery. If you focus on that understanding that I just taught you, that I just brought to you, we are in a recovery. And there are oodles of resources out there. If you want to better your financial situation, here is how you do it. We're telling you every single Tuesday, right here on Soul City Network. We're telling you every single Tuesday. I help you with the platform. As I said, I help you with building the foundation. And from there, I'll pass you off to the next person who is just as passionate about what they do, just like I'm passionate about what I do. And guess what? It's on this very same station, Dr. Yana B. Woodhouse. I have other friends as well. One of my best friends in the whole wide world, Antonio Kenyatta, a fiduciary. Again, someone who knows that, oh, I'm going to go to jail if I don't do the right thing by you. That's pretty impressive. That's really impressive, to be honest with you, that someone actually risks their own freedom. I do it every single day because I'm not going to jail for nobody. What? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm not doing that. So you're going to get the best of the best doing what we do best, which is help you with your financial, not even going to, because it kind of rhymes, so I have to say mess. So look, kids, I can spit them verbs. All right, so diversify your credit accounts, which I said allocate your accounts to certain tasks. If you do that, guess what? Boom. You're going to get more people saying positive things about you. It's going to help you out in the long run. Pay all your bills on time. Don't play around with your bills, folks. Please don't, because it's not a joke. Pay them on time. Reduce your debt balances. So again, if I max it out, bring it down. Don't only bring it down to the minimum. Don't bring it down to the halfway. Bring it down to that understanding that I just represented. The wheel itself that you saw, that chart, said 30%. If your utilization is max and you only bring it down to 25%, that's not going to get you far enough. Bring it down half, you're going to teeter back and forth. The computer doesn't like teetering back and forth. The cycles that you're attempting to create doesn't like the teetering back and forth. Bring it down to that 30%. That's the industry standard. If you are, again, anywhere on your credit profile, you'll see it. It says 30%, but that's not what you need to do. Bring it down to that 26% if you are poor to fair. Once you get into that good status, you can bring it down to about 11. Give them some more. Give them less. Give them less. In the beginning, you want to give them more to give them less. It's a relationship, but it's not like your regular relationships. But somehow regular relationships seem to go that way unless you have a perfect marriage. And this is what we're attempting to do: create a perfect marriage. Because even in relationships, you start out, oh my God, I love this person. I love this person. To oh my God, I can't stand this person. Get what I'm saying? I don't want that for your financial situation. Reduce your debt balance and get rid of negative information on your report. Get rid of negative information on your report. All right, we do that equally. Positive, negative, get it off. Positive, negative, negative, positive. You got to work in tandem with what results you want. Because if you do, you're going to win. You're going to be the winner. The institutions are already winning, and they're going to continuously keep winning. But there's so many of us out there, the rule of population. They know they're going to still keep winning. So let some of us also equally win. Remember what I just told you about that ring. Does it matter? It does not matter whether you're the starting five or you're that go-to six man, or you're the backup five when the starting five has to constantly keep getting rotated out, or you're that 12th, 13th, or whatever on that team or on that bench. You suit up every single day. or every single game. You're at every single practice. So you're hoping for that chance. May never come in the first season, might not come in the second, might not come in the third, but eventually it's going to come. And when it does come, you're going to win a championship. And once you win that championship, guess what comes with that? That ring. Everybody get your ring. Get your financial literacy ring. It's up to you. Starting, or are you building or boosting? All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for listening. That's this. I say it all the time. I'm so grateful to be able to do the things that I do. It allows for me to really understand my purpose and my sense of being, and I enjoy it. When you love what you do, it's not work. When you love what you do, it's not work. It becomes a passion. It becomes a joy. It becomes, first and foremost, a hobby. You start doing it that way, which that's what I thought my business was. So I had to really rethink everything as the new year came in. Was I doing a hobby or was I doing a business? So I really got myself back on track. The recovery so far has been going exceptionally. The opportunities that have been given to me just in the last 31 days, because January is over, folks. It's Black History Month right now. It's Black History Month, and we're going to be doing some wing dingers there as well. So if you missed the Martin Luther King's message to us when it came to his message about financial literacy, go back and check that out. It is a great, again, another great show. We're going to be introducing a lot more content, a lot more situations in which you might find yourself already, and then also solutions to help you get out of those problems. This is all about recovery, folks. This is all about you, Black Americans, Hispanic Americans. This show is dedicated specifically to you. But if you are a working poor American, a middle class American, it doesn't matter if you are white. It doesn't matter if you are Middle Eastern. It doesn't matter if you are Asian. This melting pot that we call the United States of America has close to 340 million people in it. If I'm not mistaken, the globe itself topped off at 80 billion. Or excuse me, 8 billion, not 80. My apologies, 8 billion by the end of 2023. All right, so I don't need to compete. I can take this message as an American and go right to Germany and do it there. I can take this message as an American and go right to Japan. I can take this message as an American and go to Indonesia. I can take this message as an American and go to Mexico. I can take this message because money moves. Money's everything. Same understanding that we have in other countries as well. Poor, working, poor, middle class individuals that are not finding financial peace of mind, all because of a system. The system has been, and it was always broken, but the system is now benefiting and is enriching those who should not be continuously receiving what they are receiving. And the only reason why they're receiving it is because we don't know better. Now that we know better, now that we have experts out there that want to make sure that we do better, then we should want to do better. All right, so thank you everybody for listening. How to get in contact with us. How do you reach the guy who always talks every Tuesday? Oh, I got a question. When you consolidate your card, does this close the account? Yes. Thank you so much for that question. Thank you. That was Dr. Yana B. Absolutely. When you consolidate your credit cards, this closes the account. Yes. Consolidation means I'm taking my debts and I'm putting them into one understanding. Now, consolidated loans is I'm putting it into one payment, and that one payment is now going to pay off all of my different credit cards. Consolidating your credit cards, meaning I'm taking it to a company and I'm going to have that company negotiate down my interest and then close off those cards. That's not the proper way to go. So I would be very, very careful in which direction you go in that regards. All right. So I wanted to clarify that question. It was a great, wonderful question about consolidating your credit cards and then closing the accounts. Anytime you close an account, what is it going to do is it's not going to report but it's really important to understand the consolidation piece. Consolidating your credit cards to make one payment, that's a loan that you would get, and consolidating your credit cards to have a company negotiate your interest down so that you can meet certain monthly payments, that's a questionable accounting practice that I would tell everyone to stand clear of. But consolidating your cards into a loan where you have one payment and then closing that account or those accounts as you reduced each one of those payments by obviously meeting the contractual understanding, then yes, that's the method in which I would choose. So I hope I answered that question successfully. Again, folks, these shows are for you. What I do is for you. It's for you. So as it is for you, where should we meet sometime? Let's meet on that social media platform: Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, Tumblr, Snapchat. I'm out there, folks. I want to make sure that you have the ability to get the knowledge that you want. It's really not that hard. It's not that challenging. Follow us, like us, join in the conversation. Every Tuesday here on Soul City Network. Soul City Network, this content that they allow us to provide helps the community. It helps the African American community. As we get further and further into our Black History Month, let's focus on a lot of the messaging that should be coming from some of those leaders. So I'm looking forward to doing some research on what was Malcolm X's stance on financial literacy. What was James Baldwin's stance on financial literacy? Who else is Rosa Parks? What was her stance? What was Ruby Bridge? What was her stance? What are these influential Americans' stance on financial literacy? Because I really, really want to know. And I love the fact that President Obama in his My Brother's Keepers initiative. Now, I've been working with them. I've seen some great things come out of the Yonkers branch, but I really would love to tap into that organization specifically to make sure that we're serving our community as that initiative wants to. So if there are any Obama representatives out there, President Obama, I don't mean to be disrespectful by just using your first name like that or your last name like that, my sincerest apologies. But if there's any representatives out there that are serious about financial literacy, about taking this and moving the needle, let's do something. Nonprofit organizations, influential leaders, let's start moving the conversation forward. Let's start doing versus just talking. I get the ability to be in schools. I have had the last 30 years of having the privilege of working for corporate America. I've been involved with 4 different unions. I've traveled the globe. I come with a wealth of knowledge and experience, things that would help us move that needle to that next destination or wherever it is that we're trying to go. But financially, we should all get there. Every single last one of us. We should get there. There's no reason why we're struggling, and we're struggling primarily because we just don't know. So now that we know, let's do better. It's just that simple. Now that we know, let's do better. I'm going to be here every single Tuesday, and I got one more bit of information to share with you. The Yonkers Public Library has given me the opportunity to be there every single Saturday. So starting at 12 noon until, join me at the Yonkers Public Library in the Tech Center. The necessary conversation will continue, and it is continuing. And it's always great to introduce new things. And I love this chart right here because it's just a brilliant chart. But if you don't understand this chart as you're looking at it, I want you to send me a text. I want you to send me a email. I want you to send me a call me. Go to Soul City Network and get the information to send it to Soul City Network. I want you to tell me a little bit about this chart. What do you think this chart is really expressing or saying? Because it's really an important piece of what we do as far as your credit, as far as your understanding of investing, as far as your understanding of financial literacy, as far as your understanding of generational wealth. If you can understand this chart, you're going to probably be, again, very wealthy at some point. If you follow the principles of, as we just stated, taking care of your credit first, diversifying it, getting others involved, those who really know, because as I stated, the experts are here, folks, and we're here to help you. We're offering to you. We're coming and we're knocking on the door telling you, hey, we're here to help if you want to help. You got to want it more than those of us who are presenting it to you. So as always, I want to thank you for allowing me into your living rooms, into your space to do what I do every single Tuesday. My name is Tyrone Glover. I am the credit recovery expert. I want to thank you, everybody. Please be safe in your travels, in your comings and goings, and I can't wait to see you until next Tuesday. Peace. Be safe, everyone.